Next, we have our superintendent's report. Superintendent Dixon, are you ready to?
I am, sir. Thank you. If Jerry, if you'll just give me screen sharing ability.
And just a reminder, superintendent and board members, we do have a time certain at 10:20 to start on our turnaround school reports. Okay, superintendent.
Okay, hopefully you can see that.
Not yet. Here we go.
All right. So I am really excited to be able, as Board Member Moss said, I feel excited that I have this opportunity to present remarks to you during Teacher Appreciation Week. And I just can't think of a more important year to appreciate our teachers and all that they've been through. Dr. Norman, Chief of Staff Stanley, and I had the opportunity to be with our Teacher Advisory Council this week, and just to hear some of their triumphs and frustrations and tragedies all wrapped into one, but really ending the conversation on joy about what they've accomplished and looking towards the future. So with that, our wonderful Barb Fuentes has put this little video together, so hopefully this will work.
I'm seeing the video. Is there audio with this, superintendent?
Yeah, can you not hear it?
I cannot hear it on my end.
Okay, well, hopefully you got to see the video. Did everybody see the video? Okay, well, it had words with it, so just for sake of time, it'll be posted. You can watch it on your own and hopefully get the video. I'm not sure what happened. I think I had to enable something that I didn't enable. All right. So I also want to highlight a couple of our schools who have done great work, not just this year, but in years past. So first, I want to highlight Paradise Canyon Elementary School. And I hope we have Susan Harris on.
Yeah, she's waiting.
Oh, excellent. Okay. So Paradise Canyon Elementary School was named by the Embassy of Spain to, and they have education liaisons, but their embassy named Paradise Canyon as the 2021 School of the Year, awarded for its Spanish language dual immersion program. And this is the #1 school in the country, which is a huge honor. And the Spanish embassy and the Ministry of Education in Spain takes dual immersion very seriously, and they watch all over the globe schools that are engaging in Spanish dual immersion. So I want Principal Harris, Susan Harris, to just take a minute and talk about their school and this award. So Principal Harris, you can unmute.
Thank you so much. So I just want to say, of course, we are very honored to get this award. It was a lot of hard work. Our teachers work very hard. I think we have an excellent program here. But I do need to say what stood out to the committee when they filled out our rubric was it was accolades to everybody in Utah. This award isn't really just for Paradise Canyon, it's for all of Utah. We just happened to apply for it. So we really need to, what they noticed was the support at the state level, of course, from you folks, from our legislators, from they noted that Ophelia Wade is instrumental in what gets done also at the state level in the training, down to our Superintendent Ferguson, who supports this program and has other programs starting and following through into the secondary schools, to Mary Beth Fuller, who training. But their very impressive part was that our students start in first grade, go through the dual immersion program, go through their secondary experience, and as freshmen, 100% of our students that have taken the AP test have passed that test. So what an amazing program we have in Utah. So thanks to all of you for supporting us in this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Principal Hara. And I failed to mention, I think that Paradise Canyon is in beautiful Washington County in St. George, Utah. And it's one, I think it was one of our first dual immersion. And I happened to meet a gentleman from Spain who came over as one of our early dual immersion teachers who started at Paradise Canyon. And he's an Excel Award winner in Granite School District 8 years later, and has arranged different visas to stay in our country and work with our students because he has loved it so much. So that was a wonderful side note this week to meet him and hear his roots from Paradise Canyon. Principal Hara, thank you so much for your excellent leadership and work. We really appreciate being able to highlight you.
Thank you.
Thanks for jumping on during a busy day. Appreciate it. So the next school that I want to highlight is Shadow Valley Elementary, and they received a Green Ribbon Award from the Department of Education and the Green Ribbon School Program. We've been involved in that for a few years, and it's based on their efforts to conserve energy and use best practices in their school. And I hope that we have Principal Arzoni on. I haven't heard back from him. Okay, not seeing him. So Vincent Arzon, the principal, this is an Ogden School District, and I know that they have a greenhouse. They use the content standards to talk about plants and the growth of plants and clean air and water. And they've just done some additional things in their school to make sure that as a school, they're conserving resources and energy. And the students are paying attention to it and using their content standards and really taking ownership of their school. So so a wonderful program, and we're honored that the Department of Education sees that in one of our schools. So I had Barb slide this slide in just today because it came to me as I've been listening to public comment over the last few months and just watching the angst in the world. And I've had this wonderful experience this week, and especially yesterday, just to see some unification. And I want to talk about some of these slides. So as you know, First Lady Biden came to Glendale Middle School, where she spoke to the teachers, visited a classroom. First Lady Fox was there with her. And what I was struck by, I mean, those were big things, you know, as you can imagine, people were very excited that they were there. But I want to talk about the subtext of some things I saw while I was there and waiting. We got notification a couple of days ago that we would be invited, and there were, you know, dignitaries and all of that. But I just kind of paid attention in the shadows while we were waiting. And one thing I noted when I first pulled up, there was security everywhere, as you would imagine. And there were a handful of supporters of our prior president and our current president. And they were sitting on a street corner with their signs and banners and flags. And they were sharing snacks together, and they were smiling, and they were hanging out together. I love that scene. I wished I would have taken a picture of it because it's different than some of the angst and angry discourse at times that we've seen amongst parties. So I appreciated seeing that moment that people can disagree in principle, but come together as human beings and citizens and talk about their differences in a very courteous way. As I was walking up to the school, I saw a family with Make America Great Again. I call it swag, t-shirts, hats on, and they were talking to the Secret Service or the detail of First Lady Biden. And I was kind of standing there listening to them talk, and I so appreciated that the matron of this crew said to the Secret Service, "Tell us what you like about working for the president." So what a lovely question to ask. And they were having this wonderful exchange and discourse. So walking into the school, there was just this great feeling of civility and unification. Now, in the morning, I had been invited to go out and meet with Tim Shriver of Special Olympics and unified sports at Westlake High School. And for those of you that have been on the board a few years, you might recall we had Alpine come and speak to you as a board for education, highlight about unified sports, where it's connected with Special Olympics, but they work directly with athletes in the school and get integrated into athletic programs right in the school. And then these students and some teachers serve as coaches as well. So to see this in action and to hear these student athletes, both students with different abilities and students who were members of the lacrosse team, and hear this authentic kinship and friendship that they had created with each other was just so palatable and wonderful. And talking to the kids behind the scenes, they just said, you know, it's fun. Our friend Hunter asked us to come join, and it has changed our lives to get to know students who are different than we are. So another moment of wonderful unification. I then went over to Snow Springs in Lehigh and watched an adaptive PE class. And I tried my best to jump rope in high heels. I failed a little bit in getting past about 4 rounds, but being able to watch again these elementary students who were so integrated and loving with each other and unified over their differences. I also really appreciated our Teacher of the Year, Mr. Arthur, and his speech. And I want to point out, if you look at this slide in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see the faculty at Glendale Middle. And, you know, I was able to talk to many of the teachers. They were the ones being honored, and First Lady Biden spoke directly to them and to teachers in general. But they have, like all teachers, they've had a hard year. But what I loved was hearing them talk about the care that they have for the community, not just their students, but the families, the parents. They lost one of their paraeducators to COVID, who is very beloved. But they talked about the things that they've done to support families and parents in the community. And I love that unification amongst the families of the neighborhood. And it was so interesting to me that it's like they were letting out their breath and saying, we made it through, we persevered. Mr. Arthur gave a powerful speech, and you could see that it became very emotional for these teachers to know that they had unified together to try and make things work for their students in person, online, and otherwise. And then in the upper right-hand corner, this wonderful gentleman whose name I should have got written down because it's escaped me, but he is a social worker. He runs after-school clubs, including an ukulele club. And what I loved are these posters that anytime you go into Glendale Middle, you'll see these up on the wall, and they are I am posters. And he has taken pictures of students, and they highlight characteristics and talents in themselves. So he's helping students really see, regardless of their background, to see that what they can do with their talents and working hard and persevering. So I had to share that with you because it was such a day of being able to see unification in so many different facets among adults, children, and that's what I hope we'll all strive for, is the decisions that we make bring us back together and unite us. Last but not least, I want to give a little bit of a COVID update. There's not much to tell other than I want to celebrate that we get to have in-person graduations, proms, dances, spring sports, activities, celebration banquets, all of the things last spring that our kiddos didn't get to experience or experienced in very different ways. This year, those things will happen in person. And I'm really proud of all of our educators, our parents, our students, everybody who's made that happen. As we move into the summer, you likely all know that the mask mandate for schools ends June 15th. And going into summer school, it's not anticipated that those requirements will be there, although we would expect that the school manual that helps guide schools through hygiene and best practices and those kinds of things would still be used as whatever summer experiences schools choose to have with their students and families will be in place. But we expect to hear more from the health department about any additional guidance that would be put forward. And there, so far we have heard no anticipation of masks in the fall, et cetera. So more to come, but it's not much of an update, but I just wanted to celebrate that we are finishing strong and able to do all of those things that we didn't get to do last spring. So Barb in her wisdom again put this together, and I don't think there is sound, so just visual. Oh, there is a little sound. So that ends my report. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Questions? Comments? I'm not seeing any hands raised. We do have about 6 minutes or so before our time certain starts. Might be a great time for a quick break, but right at 20 after, we'll get started on introduce that topic of turnaround, and we'll also invite Director Tracy Vandeventer to kind of lead us off. So quick 6-minute pause break. Thank you.